5, my friends. I'm Chris Biffle. March 6th, incredible program for you tonight, all about hands and eyes. If you're just coming online, let us know who you are and where you're from. Pay attention to the names in red. If you're watching a recording, typing in information is not going to help you. But if you're live tonight, March 6, 2012, take advantage of our online gurus. Their names are in red. Here we go. Teaching Challenging Kids 101. Lesson 5, Hands and Eyes. I'm Chris Biffle. This is WholeBrainTeaching.com. What exactly is whole brain teaching? Let me tell you. We've got over 50,000 members. We're approaching 60,000 now. Over 2 million views. That's just on YouTube. Doesn't even count TeacherTube. Over 10 million pages downloaded by educators around the world. We are one of the world's most popular education websites. The power of the internet and free and fun is what's making us grow. What are we doing tonight? Hands and eyes. Think about whole brain teaching. It's the one-stop shopping center for education solutions. Because we're classroom teachers, we're going for the big picture. So we have 7 daily instruction techniques. We're talking about the 5th one tonight. The others are online for free at Whole Brain Teaching. After those 7 instruction techniques, in a few weeks we'll start our year-long classroom management system. And you're going to love that. We got something for even the most challenging kids out there. And we also have a huge array of basic skills material in reading, math, writing, state standards, critical thinking, leadership training, the whole package. That's what we're doing here at WholeBrainTeaching.com. Is teachers helping teachers solve the problems in the trenches. You'll get about 5% theory from us and 95% application. What you want to know is, how do I teach these kids? And that's what we talk about every Tuesday night and in all of our downloads. Let's get a picture of what we feel like is the center of the world, Yucaipa, California. Look, we're blotting out Los Angeles there. I'm Chris Biffle, also known as Coach B. Started teaching in 1970, and I was a failure for 29 years because I was locked in lecture discussion. I found some new ways to teach Aristotle. I'm a philosophy instructor, and I applied those new ways to teach basketball. And here's the thing, my friends. Pay attention to me now. It worked teaching Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, and it worked teaching basketball. And I said to myself, oh my goodness, if it works on these two things, maybe it would work someplace else, other subjects, other grades. And so began the amazing journey of whole brain teaching. Myself, there I am on top, Chris Rexstead, a former student and 4th grade teacher, and a couple other folks got together in 1999, started broadcasting on YouTube, put up lots of free materials, and we're used in over 30 foreign countries. We're delighted to help a worldwide audience. Everybody's got challenging kids. We all face the same problems. Let's help each other out. Oh yeah. Now, here we are on Bluebird Planet. This is Biffy Bluebird. What if someone wants a copy of these slides or professional development credit? Biffy Bluebird, welcome to you. You are one of my favorite little bluebirds. Thank you, Coach B. You're one of my favorite humans, even though I don't play basketball. Oh, Biffy. Listen, I'm glad to see you brought your brother along, Bobby Bluebird. Bobby, what do you got to say to us? Easy breezy. Details are at the end of the program. Thank you, Bobby Bluebird. This is program 518, folks. If you want those professional development credit or a copy of the slides, tune in as Biffy and Bobby are suggesting. Here we are. The Big Seven. This is how we teach every day. Look at me, my friends. We got 7 teaching techniques. We use them all the time. This is how we deliver information, how we motivate kids, how we get their attention, how we organize the classroom, how we activate their whole brain, how we get them to focus. That's hands and eyes. That's tonight. How we unify the class. That's mirror. That's coming up next week. And how we involve every particular kid, the chatty ones and the not so chatty ones. That is switch. 7 techniques. We haven't changed them in over 12 years. I don't know how we stumbled on them, my friends. Well, I'll tell you how we stumbled on them. We stumbled on them after 25 years of failure. All of a sudden, and over a period of about 2 weeks, these techniques became clear to me, and at the same time, it became clear to me that I couldn't charge for these techniques. Why? Because the person who gave them to me didn't charge. So how can I charge you? Get my meaning? I'm sure you do. Well, my friends, we will have a special surprise for you tonight. A very special surprise. This is going to be no surprise. California Clear, if you're a regular viewer, you know every once in a while I hit the juice. California Clear. Now let's get down to it. The focuser, hands and eyes. And I'll tell you, my friends, nothing simpler and nothing more educational, if you're talking pure education, than our focuser, hands and eyes. So the teacher says class, and the students say yes. And the teacher just says, when I say hands and eyes, you say hands and eyes, fold your hands and stare at me because I have a big point to make. Hands and eyes. You see that? That pause is the dramatic pause. That was another dramatic pause. We've just come up with a dramatic pause in about 2 or 3 weeks. Nancy Stoltenberg online, Budsley online, are you using any dramatic pauses? Pretty effective. You see, that's another dramatic pause. So you make a dramatic pause, you say hands and eyes. The kids do this, hands and eyes, and they stare at you. There's something about that request that is mesmerizing. And you need it once in a while. For me, in teaching philosophy, I'd use it about once every 5 minutes. Chris Rexted, my 4th grade colleague, says he uses only 3 or 4 times a day. It's your classroom. Use these techniques as you see fit. So first time you try hands and eyes, you're going to love it. But use it to introduce big points. The students say hands and eyes, and the teacher says, good, now here's my big point. So, my friends, I'm going to ask you our first question tonight. Those of you who are using hands and eyes, those of you who are not using hands and eyes, tomorrow in class, what are a couple big points that you're going to make that you're going to use hands and eyes for? Go ahead and let us know. Tell us where you're from. And I'll look at the answers in a few minutes because there's a little bit of lag here between when I make the request and when I see the answers. You know, we don't alter the hands and eyes. We've never had to introduce variety. We just use the same thing all the time. Superlatives, that is a good one for hands and eyes. From Windsor, Colorado. Yes, use hands and eyes. Metacognition. Oh, Jamie Hart, yes. Homophones. Yes, Fonda Jones. Transitions in Florida. Introduce the objective of the lesson. You know what, Kay Reed, that is one of the best uses of hands and eyes. At the top of the lesson, you tell them this is what we're going to learn. 10-finger woo to Kay Reed. Woo. When you're talking about the Texas flag, yes, indeed. Before the benchmark, Scrap Bunny, Yes, you're late, but you're here. That's what we love, Scrap Bunny. All right, let's go to the next screen, my friends. Now here's the pattern. Here's the pattern. Red box is the teacher. The teacher says class. Blue box are the students. They say yes. Then you say hands and eyes. They say hands and eyes, and make your big point. You know, the more briefly you make the big point, the better. Let me tell you why. If you make a brief big point, and I would say repeat it twice. Today we're going to talk about nouns. Yes, nouns is the subject we're going to talk about today. After you make that big point, keep it brief. They've got a better chance when you do the teach okay like that of being able to repeat the whole big point. So keep it short, especially with hands and eyes, because it's a big point. If it's a long big point, break it up into mini big points. I just thought up mini big points. Here we go. Now, students teach each other after they say, okay, the big point. And what do? You don't, my friends, what's going to happen right now? You know what's going to happen, don't you? Come on, tell me. You notice a change in Coach B's tone of voice here. You know what's going to happen. Yeah. The glasses come off, my friends. I once was in a classroom where the teacher taught sitting down. Oh, my friends, can you believe that? How can you teach sitting down? Especially in whole brain teaching, you've got to be moving around the classroom, listening to what kids are saying. Nancy Stoltenberg, Annette. Are you guys ever sitting down? Maybe when they're working at their desk quietly, but otherwise you've got to see, did they understand? Did they hear the big point? Oh yeah. Whole brain teaching is a secret weight loss method. Yes, it is. You're moving all the time, my friend. Now you might say, wait a second, Coach B, I get tired. Oh, really? You say you're tired at the end of the day after whole brain teaching? Well, let me ask you this. Are you tired at the end of the day when you're not doing whole brain teaching? Yeah, you're exhausted. Either way, you're going to be exhausted, but there's a little difference. My vocabulary word for today is sarcasm. Yeah, it is. There's a little difference between traditional instruction, here's the gesture for traditional instruction, and whole brain instruction. A little difference between the types of exhaustion. You're either going to be exhausted from hassling kids or exhausted from teaching them. You notice how I did the hand switch there? You tell me, what kind of exhaustion do you prefer? If you're not tired, you're not teaching, okay? Yes, my friends. You can quote me on that. Now, we're really rolling tonight. Why is, oh, I'm sorry, Biffy Bluebird, I stepped on your line. Oh, Coach, give me a chance to talk here. All right, Biffy. Biffy, ask your question. Why is hands and eyes important? Biffy, well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Here's Bobby Bluebird. Teaching often alternates between small and big points. Hands and eyes emphasizes the big points. Hands and eyes, my friend, is like putting what you say in italics, all caps, and underlining it. Imagine the words are coming out of your mouth, and all of a sudden you've got hands and eyes. Boom, they say hands and eyes, and now they come out italics, all cap, and underline in red flashing letters. Just keep it short. Short attention span you got there, those kids. You know, I'm just thinking up that words flying out of your mouth. Nancy, Budsley, what do you think? Have you heard that one before? I don't think so. Here's some variations on hands and eyes. Now, this one we use all the time as a class yes follow-up. If students aren't completely focused after your attention getter, after you say class, yes, you say hands and eyes. Now, remember, there's a surprise coming up. Okay, I mean, I know you're sitting on the end of your seat. My friends, let's just talk about the surprise for a second. It's going to blow your socks off, so I hope you're wearing loose-fitting shoes. Did I forget to tell you about the loose-fitting shoes? Because we're going to apply hands and eyes and just give you a wealth of teaching wisdom tonight. So when we do the class yes, typically if kids are talking to each other, it might take up to 3 class yeses. Class, yes. Class, yes. Class, class, class. Yes, yes, yes. That's normal. And if you still don't quite get them back, hands and eyes. Or like Nancy just said, you know what? When they're in line, when they're outside the classroom, when you really need to get them, when you have a really big point, then you do this. Hands, hands, hands and eyes. You with me? You with me? Hands, hands, hands and eyes. And they go, hands, hands, hands and eyes. That's a bigger than a big point. You know, like, this is what we're going to do for tonight's writing assignment. Oh, it's a big point. Tell me some big points that you'd use the triple hands and eyes. And notice you can vary your tone of voice, even for a big one. Hands, hands, hands and eyes. You know, show them that excited face. Or you can use it for what we call the freezer. Students are a little too antsy in line, before leaving for lunch, on the playground. Get instant focus and settle them down with hands and eyes. Well, McGee says, used it at assemblies for a whole school. Everyone was so amazed that the student of 200 kids, they stopped talking and they're quiet. Wow! That's incredible, McGee. 10-finger woo to McGee. I'm even going to give you a 2D mix there. Look at this. Whoa! Yes, McGee, that's incredible. Let's go to our, now, we're getting ready. Here's the surprise. Here's a surprise. Unannounced material tonight, my friends. Unannounced. So it's just me and you here. Do something special. Don't tell anybody. Here's the big surprise. We are going to show you the whole brain teaching lesson planner, how you can annotate the lesson planner with hands and eyes or anything else, and we're going to give you some sample 5-step lesson plans, and we're not charging any more than we charge for the original broadcast. It's double free. Oh yeah, lesson planner. Let's dig it. Let's look at it. Lesson planner, like everything else in whole brain teaching, is so stinking simple. Make 3 columns. 3 columns, my friends. Remind yourself to say class. Then write down very briefly what you're going to say, and then remind yourself to clap twice and say teach. Yes, Jones ABC, aren't you glad you are wearing loose-fitting shoes because your socks were just blown off? Look at the simplicity of that. If you can't fit everything you want to say in the little box, my friends, you're saying too much. Are you with me there? That's the lesson planner. In fact, when you get good, just outline your points in those little boxes. You start with the class yes. You make your point, you clap twice and say teach. And wherever you want to, put in a little note to yourself where you should do H&E, hands and eyes. You see what I'm talking about, the annotations? Yes. The annotations are the beauty and power of the lesson planner. Now, I wonder, oh, I do wonder, how could we take this lesson planner and get some critical thinking pieces in it? How could we take the lesson planner and integrate a evaluation. Any way we could use the lesson planner and get some writing pieces in there? Well, that's the surprise. Here's a double surprise. Let's just look at the next question. Here is our lesson planner template. We say you should go with 5 steps. State the question. What's a noun? What's a simile? What are the colors of the Texas flag? Give an answer with a gesture. Expand the answer. Now that third step is your big one. Then do your evaluation with yes, no, way, or the QT test. And then do critical thinking. And for critical thinking, we often recommend writing or sentence frames. Now let's check out a sample 5-step lesson template. So, look, I'm just going to annotate it. I'm just going to annotate it with hands and eyes a couple of places. So let's say our question is, what is a noun? Get them to say the question. Then give the answer with a gesture. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Here's the gesture. A noun is a person, place, and then knock on the desk, thing. Say that twice, clap twice, and get the kids to say it to each other. Then expand your answer with examples of nouns in the classroom. And you're going to do several teach OKs here. And then it's time for another hands and eyes. You're going to do the yes, no, way, and the QT test. Let's talk about those tests. Make some statements. If the statement is true, the kids go, yes. If the statement is false, the kids go, no way. That's the yes, no, way test. And then do the QT. You say QT. That's for quick test. You say QT. They say QT. Boom. They cover their eyes with their hands. And then you make some statements. If the statement is true, thumbs up. The statement is false, thumbs down. And this way means teach me again. That way you can see each and every kid. Did they get the lesson? That is our evaluation technique. Yes, no, way, and QT takes about 5 or 10 minutes. And then let's look at the critical thinking piece. All right. Write some sentences, and the second sentence has to have a noun in it. Second sentence underlines a noun. Underline your nouns. That's how hands and eyes fits into a lesson about nouns. Gosh, could we have any other lessons? Sure. Here's prediction. State the question, what's prediction? Before you give the answer, do a hands and eyes and give the answer. Prediction is a guess about the future. What kind of gesture could you use for prediction? Prediction's a guess about the future. Make it visual. Notice you've used hands and eyes in a different place. Expand it. Same pattern over and over again, my friends. Evaluate it. State questions that are and are not predictions. And then critical thinking. I predict, and have kids fill in that blank as many times as you can. Here's another lesson. Oh, the surprises just keep coming tonight, my friends. Here's another one. What's sorting? Now, use hands and eyes down there in the middle of that when you're using examples of sorting. Notice that there's 5 steps. Let's look at them, me and you together. You ask a question, give an answer with a gesture, and then expand that answer. That could be multiple teach OKs. Then evaluate if the kids understood, yes, no, way, and QT, and then use a critical thinking piece. Hands and eyes can be used multiple places in there. It's your classroom. Look at this gesture. This is you. This is the system. You use the system. The system doesn't use you. Isn't that beautiful? We've never, and I say this categorically, with the glasses off in the 3D effect. You catch the 3D effect? we've never allowed an administrator to mandate whole brain teaching anywhere. Yeah, we love whole brain teaching. Yes, we do. We love it. But what do we love more? Teacher freedom, teacher autonomy. Why? Why do we love it? I'll tell you why. We're teachers. Whole brain teaching never mandated. Putting the glasses back on. Can you dig that? Yes, indeed. Let's go to the next lesson. Here's another lesson. So put in a vocabulary word. What is sarcasm? What's a metaphor? Same pattern. Same pattern. In critical thinking, I have a little phrase there, vocab candy. Let's talk about vocab candy. Vocab candy is like this. You tell the kids, when you put a piece of vocab candy in your mouth, the next sentence you speak contains a vocabulary word. Sarcasm is when you're not being serious. Sometimes on TV, a comedian will use sarcasm to make a joke. See, vocab candy. Kids love using vocab candy. That's just one critical thinking technique. Here's more planning. You see the power of this? Procedures. How do we line up? How do we get out paper? How do we sharpen our pencils? Use the same pattern. Throw in hands and eyes where you think appropriate. Here's a long lesson on fractions. Long lesson on fractions. So first, you're going to say hands, 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 and eyes. And you say, people are afraid of fractions. Don't be afraid of them. Tell your neighbor you're not afraid of fractions. Then you ask the question, and they repeat it. You give the answer. A fraction is two numbers that shows how many parts in a whole. And you make this gesture. A fraction is two numbers that shows how many parts in a whole. Then you use some examples on the board. Now I'm really spelling this out for you so you see all the steps. Show the gesture and repeat the definition. More board examples. Show the gesture for the top number. This is the numerator. Show them the gesture. Teach. Show them the gesture for the bottom number. This is the denominator. Maybe you cue that little point there with the hands and eyes. Explain the board examples of numerator and denominator. This is your big third step where you just teach like crazy. Now, then you ask individual students to explain what you said. Re-explain it. Go back and review at the scoreboard with hands and eyes. Then do your yes-no evaluation. Then do your QT. Yes, unless the kids are moving and talking to each other, they're going to go to sleep and tune you out. That's the whole deal. It's another glasses off moment. Another glasses off moment. We've all got short attention spans, my friends. We're all ADHD, my friends. It's just that we often know how to hide it better. Short-term memory is called short-term memory. 10 to 15 seconds is about as long as we can hold information in our mind without repeating it. So speak briefly. Get kids to speak to each other. Review, speak briefly. And get them moving around. If they're moving around, they can't go to sleep. Does that make sense? Glasses back on. Oh, we're just rolling with the teaching wisdom tonight. Then go back and give some examples of fractions. You put a 1 here, you put a 2 there. You put a 1 here, you put a 3 there. Here's the 3/4. Point at these on. Go back, use the scoreboard. You know, my friends, here's what I note. Here's what I note when I go to classes. People are not using the scoreboard. How can you not use the scoreboard? It's the motivator. 30 to 40 marks a day when the class is not used to scoreboarding. That's minimum. Throw those hands and eyes in. Now, where can you use the hands and eyes? Oh my goodness, any place in the 5-step lesson template. That's where you can use the hands and eyes. You see the power. I think you're seeing the power. Let's look at leadership training. Select leaders to cue hands and eyes. Give leaders examples of various tones of voice to use. When you point at a leader, say hands and eyes. As students respond, hands and eyes. If the leaders are slow or lack energy, rehearse. We love using student leaders. So you got that highly energetic girl? Oh, she's just, bouncing. You're doing such a good job, Mary. When I point at you, you're going to say hands and eyes. And Mary, who's sometimes bouncing out of your system, is then, because she's a student leader, part of your team. You can be your own version of Coach B, even if your last name doesn't start with B. How do you like that? Student leadership with hands and eyes. Anybody out there using student leaders for hands and eyes or in any other whole brain teaching way? Yes. McGee, you are really on the money. Your kids loving to man the scoreboard. That is a beautiful thing. We call this whole brain teaching. We do call it whole brain teaching. Well, check this out. How do you like that graphic? The whole brain is activated by hands and eyes. The motor cortex, you fold your hands, that's activated by hands and eyes. The prefrontal cortex, you make a decision to use hands and eyes. Broca's, you say hands and eyes. Wernicke, you hear hands and eyes. The limbic system gets excited if you say it in an excited way. And visual cortex, you see the teacher doing hands and eyes. Let's go over that again. So, I say hands and eyes. My kids say hands and eyes. What did it take? About 5 seconds, and boom, I've got their whole brains. They had to make a decision to do this, prefrontal cortex. They saw me, that's visual cortex. They heard me, that is Wernicke's area. They said hands and eyes, that's Broca's area. And because I said it in an excited way, hands and eyes, I activated their limbic system. Your emotion gets mirrored by their emotion. Your limbic system keys into their limbic system. Hands and eyes, 3 syllables, the whole brain activator. Yes, my friends. Tell me right now if you see the power, the beauty, and the simplicity of hands and eyes. Let's look at a summary. Get your students' attention with class. Say hands and eyes to signal that you have a big point to make. Emphatically make your big point with your tone of voice and or gestures, and you say teach, and students teach their neighbors your big point. For a huge point, say hands, 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 and eyes. Look, I'm a philosophy teacher, 40 years in the trenches. For 25 years, I was talking big points, big points, big points, and I'd see the glassy look on their face. I think the glassy look may have started in kindergarten, you know what I'm saying? So I'm making these huge points, and I'm the only one making them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just talk. Big point, big point, big point. Oh, maybe they're writing it down, and you know what? Taking notes is a rotten way to learn. Who knows what they're writing down on a piece of paper? Give them the notes. Give them the important stuff. Let them listen and teach each other. But now, with hands and eyes, you make a big point, they make a big point. Let me show you. Here we are in traditional instruction. Here's the teacher. Here's the student in traditional instruction. Teacher, oh, pay attention. Oh, stop that. Oh, keep your hands to yourself. Oh, don't throw that. That's traditional instruction. It's uh, uh. You say hands and eyes. They say hands and eyes. Boom! That's when learning takes place. When they're with you, your whole brain is geared into their whole brain. Then the magic happens. Now, I'm going to talk about something I never have talked about before. And I'm ashamed to say I've never talked about it before. My friends, what's Coach B going to talk about now that he's ashamed to talk about? He's never talked about it before. You got no clue. Something very important to do with teaching. I'm going to take a drink of California Clear here and just see if I get some response. This important thing I've never talked about before. Wait time. Budsley, you're ready. I know you are. Dramatic pause. Southern teacher, you're good. Is everybody digging dramatic pause? Let kids think before answering. We sometimes do that. But here's the big point. Big point. I'm going to calm down because it's so big. I'm going to talk about love. You with me? Yeah, talking about love. Think of teaching this way. In teaching, the relationship between a teacher and a student may be the purest form of love on earth. Let me see if I can convince you that's true. All right, you're married to someone. Yes, you love them deeply, you die for them, but you know what? They also aggravate you. And you aggravate them, and it's bumpy and rocky, but underneath there's that love. But on top, there's difficulties. Love is the land you keep coming back to in marriage. You're roommates with somebody. Oh, it starts pretty good. You know, they're a good friend of yours, but you're roommates with them, and the love gets mixed up with, why don't you rinse out your dishes? You love your mother, you love your father, yes you do. But there's other things built around that love that sometimes lead to neurosis. You know what I'm saying? You love your kids. Burglar breaks into his house, says, I'm going to have to shoot somebody. Say, do me a favor and make it me. I'll die for my kid. Yes. But you know what? That passionate love that you have for your child, for your beloved, for your parents, for your friends, it's mixed up with a lot of other stuff because it's so broad and multidimensional. But my friends, the love that a teacher has for a student and a student has for a teacher is pure. You veteran teachers know it. On the first day of class, you look at some kids and you know, wow, that kid, what a blessing to me. And all year long, there's nothing but love that passes between you. Your love nurtures that kid. The kid's love sustains you. Pure, pure, pure love. Are you getting it, my friends? Yeah, that's Coach B on love. Are you feeling it? That's why we're teachers. It's the love, man. We'll be talking more about love as the weeks go on. We should have been talking about it for a long time. But just tell me if you're feeling that special passion for those kids. And you know what, music teacher? You're right. If you're a big-hearted person, it doesn't even have to be two ways. You just got this love passion for this kid, and there's nothing the kid can do to escape from your love lasso. Yeah. All right, my friends. Let us look. Here's Ms. Linenthal come to visit us. Here's Miss Linenthal. Miss Linenthal, how are you tonight? Oh, I'm really good, Coach B. Miss Linenthal, Do you still have your cold? Oh, Coach, I feel so much better than last week. I had kind of a bronchitis situation, but Coach, I'm feeling good tonight. Gosh, hands and eyes sounds great. Doesn't it sound great, Ms. Linnet? Oh, Coach, it sounds great. But here's my question, Coach. How could I get professional development credit for this broadcast? And if it's not asking too much, Coach, how could I get a copy of these slides? All right, my friends. Ms. Linenthal, thank you so much. That's okay, Coach, anytime. Go to wholebrainteaching.com. I'm going to take you to the website in a second. Click on PayPal and donate $5.18. That's the code number for this program. Before long, and tonight, you might only have to wait half an hour, I'll email you a professional development certificate and a PDF of these slides. What's that certificate look like? Check it out. The fancy blue border. Yes, there's that professional development certificate. And it has another side to it. Check that out. So let's see how we can get one of these at wholebrainteaching.com. I'm going to go right to our website. And let's just check out where the PayPal thing is. Here is the PayPal box, $5.18 if you want the professional development certificate and the PDF. My friends, let's go down here. We've got a few extra minutes. Look here. Do you see this video library? There's only 4 items on it. But if you go here to the little right pointing arrow, look at all those previous video programs. There's now 18 hours of them. Right there. Send your friends here. The universal homework model. How to do homework with whole brain teaching. Oral writing. How to teach your kids to speak paragraphs. Super improvers wall. Tell me which of these you vote for as a whole brain teaching technique. Super improvers wall. To give every kid a chance to continuously improve. The Genius Ladder. Oh, my friends, the Genius Ladder. Bill's writing skills, brand new this year. It's working amazingly. The 5-step lesson template. I touched on it tonight, my friends. There's a whole hour on the 5-step lesson template. Prove it. You want to get kids ready for state tests? It's there. Mind Soccer is the world's greatest game for academic review. You can use it as a reward on the scoreboard. Brain Toys, kindergarten teacher. Mind Soccer you can use. 2 programs on the Brain Toys. Super Speed 100, kindergarten teacher. I'll show you the PayPal button in a second. Super Speed 1000, this is about reading sight words. Super Speed Rhymes, kindergarten teachers. Look at Super Speed Rhymes. Class Yes, 5 Rules, Teach OK, the scoreboard, and now we're adding Hands and Eyes. It's all there, my friends. Let's look one more time at where that little PayPal box is. Right here. See that? It's right up here on the right-hand side. Now, you've seen those incredible videos. You know what, my friends? Why don't I just show you? Why don't I just show you the free ebooks? Check it out. Notice I registered. I went to free ebooks, and then I'm clicking. Electronic Super Speed Grammar. I'm just going to do the new ones. This will teach your kids nouns and verbs and adjectives and adverbs and sentences and prepositional phrases and pronouns. It's so much fun they'll feel like they're reading a comic book. Super Speed Rhymes, 500 slides with 200 words, everyone illustrated with a high-quality cartoon graphic. Electronic Super Speed 1000. These are PowerPoint programs, my friends. Free. Electronic Super Speed 100. Teach your kids the 100 most common sight words. Quick start guide. You want to get up and rolling? Lickety split. Quick start guide. You want to see the materials we hand out at conferences? Check it out. You look at these are conference materials online. And that's just page 1 of 4 pages. Over 40 free ebooks. Yes, my friends. Teachers helping teachers. So stay in touch. Stay in touch. Go to YouTube. Look at our 30 videos there. Sign up to follow me on Twitter. Or click on Facebook, my friends. And then anytime I put a message or ask a question or have a free announcement, you'll get information. And here's where the conferences are coming up. Palmdale, Indio, Bakersfield, Riverdale, Maryland, Madisonville, Kentucky, Wichita, Kansas, Sacramento, California, York, Pennsylvania, Jackson, Missouri, and Walsh University. If you're only going to come to one of those and you're in the Midwest, come join us at Walsh University in Ohio, July 11 and 12. My friends, that will be our Midwest convention. Give me any questions that you have remaining. And let's say you say, well, what is this whole thing about? What's the big picture? Let me show you. There's the big picture right there. Freebies at the bottom. The big 7 at the base of the pyramid. Then our year-long classroom management system, which supports all of the basic skills activity, and reading is number 1 for me. Leads us to teaching heaven as we develop student leaders. And teaching heaven, that's a whole brain developing self-managing class. So my friends, maybe you feel like you're left out. You wish there could be a conference in your area. Do you feel that way? Would you like me to come and give a presentation in your backyard? Well, send me an email. chrisbiffle@wholebrainteaching.com. Let's lift up that screen so you can see the email. chrisbiffle@wholebrainteaching. Katie, get an administrator to send me an email. I will be in upstate New York. Elementary matters, I can't use your backyard? Come on. Well, that, my friends, is our broadcast for tonight. No, McGee, it's up to you to make it happen. Make it happen in New Hampshire. I'd never visited New Hampshire. I really want to. The cost is on a sliding scale. We used to do these for free. Now we're very competitive with other presenters. In fact, I think we are less than most out-of-state presenters and far less than anyone with a national reputation. And frankly, folks, we do have a national reputation. All right, my friends, this is Chris Biffle signing off. Oh, wait a second. Next week is Mirror. Oh, yeah. You can't miss Mirror. Mirror is used in so many different ways. It's so fun. It's so engaging. Come back next week for Mirror and bring some friends. And you know what we say at the end. Power to the teachers. God bless us all. Coach B, signing off. See you next week, my friends.